Welcome back to Clarity Convos for Wedding Pros podcast. I'm your host, Aislinn. If we've never met before, I was a luxury wedding photographer before I became an intuitive business coach. So now as an intuitive business coach, I help women in the wedding industry with both their energetics, their mindset, and the strategy of being a CEO in your business. I love what I do. I loved what I did as a wedding photographer, but I love what I do as an intuitive business coach. So today's episode is going to be really cool because we're going to be talking about the launch that I just had for my signature program, Success Accelerator Program. If you did not see it somewhere online, we just had a launch for SAP that was a $12,000 launch. So today I want to talk to you guys about how I became an energetic match for a $12,500 launch and what the energetic side of things looked like. But before we get into it, I want to celebrate one of my own clients who is in SAP. She just launched her course, and not in beta format, like she actually launched it where she's getting paid for it. And she's already sold 2 spots in pre-sale. My brain is just like on overload. Like I cannot tell you how exciting it is for me to watch my clients take what we talk about in SAP and implement it in such a beautiful way. And for them to get results so quickly, it just makes my heart so, so happy. I am so proud of her, and I've loved watching her add on new ways that money can come into her business. But I've also loved watching her really take hold of her mindset and shift some of the things that were keeping her small. And the coolest part is that she still has limiting beliefs. We all do. Like, I'm not going to say like I'm immune to limiting beliefs, but I have ways to work through it. And I teach those things to my client. So what was so interesting was before this launch happened, I asked her, like, are there any mindset things coming up for you? Anything we need to work through on the belief and energetic side of things? And she was concerned that no one would sign up for the course or that it would be too expensive. So what was really cool was that we worked together on showing her that it was safe for her to like flip the script on those particular limiting beliefs. And it was so cool. As soon as we did that and she started launching, she had 2 people sign up almost immediately. So it was like this beautiful proof almost immediately that, hey, yeah, you actually have something super valuable here. People want it. Not only do they want it, they need it. And so they're going to buy it. And your messaging is so on point that, of course, people are going to buy this. So I'm just so proud of my client. So excited for her, celebrating you so, so big. So let's get into the meat of today's episode. I just wrapped up my launch of my signature program, Success Accelerator Program. And it was by far one of the best launches I've ever had. And I'm not just talking like monetarily, because like monetarily, yeah, this was the best launch I've ever had for a program. But energetically, something about this launch just felt so on point. And I had the freaking time of my life selling this program and really stepping up and being super visible while I was talking about this program and while I was creating content for selling this program during the launch. This was one of the most intentional launches that I've ever done. I planned out my feed content. I planned out my Instagram stories. I had a visibility strategy. I really had a lot of intention behind this particular launch. And I'm not surprised that we ended up having a $12,000 launch because of the things that I'm going to talk about today, which is the energetic side of things. There were tons of strategy things that I put into place for this. Like, I don't want you guys to think like, oh, if I just manifest it, I'm going to have a $12,000 launch, because that is absolutely not the case. But this is why I teach my clients both the mindset and energetics piece of things and also the strategy side of things. So I actually am sharing all of the details of this particular launch inside of Success Accelerator Program with my clients. So they actually got to see like step by step the content that I put out, the stories that I put out, the strategies behind all of those different pieces. But today I want to talk about becoming an energetic match for things that you desire. So not just a $12,000 launch. Like if you desire that, cool, like go for it, desire that. But I want to talk to you about being an energetic match for things that you desire in your business in general. So this is the key thing that I want you to get out of today's episode, is that becoming an energetic match for something is a decision. It's a decision. It's in the moment deciding, I am available for this. It's deciding, I am a match for this thing that I want. It's deciding, I'm going to show up even if I don't have evidence. It's deciding, I am available for 5-figure launches. It's deciding I'm available for 5-figure clients. It's deciding I am available for the dreamiest, most ideal clients to find me and book me with ease. You're becoming this energetic match for this decision that you're making. So the most important part of this is figuring out what that thing is that you desire. What is the decision that you're making? Is it, I'm available for 20K months? I am becoming an energetic match for all of the things that I desire because I am already a match for the things that I desire. So how am I going to show up today as if that's the truth? How am I going to show up today as if I've made the decision and the universe is going to respond? Before this launch, I was truly desiring to work with more women in the wedding industry who are ready to play bigger and redefine success for themselves. That was the decision I made. I didn't sit there and go, I'm going to have a $12,000 launch and this many people are going to join, like blah, blah, blah. Like that was not the decision I made. I decided I am desiring to work with more women in the wedding industry who are ready to play bigger and redefine what success means for themselves. So I had this desire. I got very clear about what it was. And then I had the intention to show up powerfully for this launch and not unplug during it. So I made that decision before I showed up for this launch. It would have been very easy for me in the first couple of days of this launch to be like, oh my God, no one's buying. I'm going to unplug and not show up for this. But I made the decision before the launch started that I was going to show up no matter what. I was going to show up as if I was talking to 1,000 people. I was going to show up as if everyone and their mother wanted to be in this program. Whether or not that was the truth, I was going to show up that way. The thing is that I have already had multi 5-figure months. I've had $26,000 months in business. I've had $25,000 months in business. I've had $10,000 months in business. But for me, this was the first launch that I had that was a 5-figure launch for something. I already knew that I was a match for bigger cash months because I had already experienced it. But what I wanted was to experience what it was like to have a big launch and to experience what it was like to show up the entire freaking launch, not just during pre-sale, not just during the first couple of days, the entire launch. And this launch was 4 weeks long. So it was kind of a longer one. Like I know there are different strategies for launching. Like you can do like a 4-week launch, you can do an 8-week launch, you can do a 12-week launch. All of those are valid. This one was a little bit long for me, but I also knew that because it was a higher ticket program, I wanted to make sure that my audience was very well versed in what they were getting, the result that they were going to get, the transformation that they were going to get from my program. So I got really real with myself about what it was going to take for me to experience a big launch. If you want to become an energetic match for something like a 5-figure launch of an offer or a program, you're going to have to show up like it. The way you talk about the program, you're going to have to show up like you are an energetic match for a 5-figure launch. The way you show up daily in your stories, the way you show up in your content, the way you show up in rooms that you occupy, you're going to have to act like you're an energetic match for a 5-figure launch. The way you show up, even when no one is interacting or engaging, or you get a no, if you get a rejection, like where like somebody reaches out to you, they're like, that's too expensive. Doesn't matter. You have to continue to be the energetic match for a 5-figure launch. And the energetic match of a 5-figure launch is you're going to keep going even when you get rejected. The way you speak about yourself and the way you speak to yourself has to be an energetic match for a 5-figure launch or whatever it is you're desiring. If you're going through your launch and you're just like absolutely shitting on yourself like every single day of like, oh my God, like no one's buying, I'm terrible, I'm, messed up, like no one wants to learn from me. Like if that's the way that you're going to speak to yourself, you are not a match for what you say that you want. So how are you going to speak to yourself? How are you going to speak about yourself? And the way you take care of yourself during a launch, the way you take care of yourself to become an energetic match for something, you have to be taking care of yourself, whether that's the mental side of things, the physical side of things, the spiritual side of things. I don't care what it is. Like if you want to be an energetic match for something bigger than what you've had before, you're going to have to take care of yourself. All of this has to be intentional because people can feel when you're excited about something that you've created. Being a match for something you want, it just means that you're tuning out the noise of other people's fears and rejections. You're tuning out your, you can't see me, but I've got quotations here, competition. You're staying in your own lane. So how would you show up if you knew that you were going to book your highest paying client ever this month? Isn't that a beautiful question? If you knew you were going to book the most amazing, incredible highest paying clients you've ever had this month, how would you start showing up today? How would you start talking about yourself today? How would you start taking care of yourself today? How would you talk about your process? How would you talk about your artwork? How would you talk about what you do? If you knew your highest paying client is just inches away from booking you, what actions would you take if you knew that this was going to be your biggest month ever? We never know when our biggest month ever is going to happen until you're literally in it and it's happening and you're like, oh, hi, welcome. So what actions would you take if you knew that this was going to be your biggest month ever? How would you show up? How would you speak about yourself? How would you talk about your offers? How would you talk about your process? How would you take care of yourself? How would you talk to yourself on a daily basis? How would you do all of those things? What would you say if someone was watching you from the sidelines and they were 1 minute away from inquiring with you? How would you show up? How would you become an energetic match for that person to hire you? I see so many wedding professionals just kind of going through the motions with their business and not being intentional with what they're putting out there. And then they're like, oh, I don't get great clients, or I haven't had a booking in 6 months and I don't know what's going on. It's like, well, what are you putting out there in the world? What are you creating? You're a creative, are you not? We have to be more intentional. We have to be more intentional. And not only that, we have to dream bigger. I knew I would have a $12,000 launch someday. I knew it was going to happen. I had already been an energetic match for 5-figure months. Like, I knew that I would have a launch someday that would be a 5-figure launch. What I didn't do was hold on to it has to happen in a certain amount of time and it has to happen a certain way. I held on to the vision without the how. I held on to the vision without exactly needing to control every single part of the process, because that takes the magic out of living. So becoming an energetic match is truly about intention. And it's truly about plugging into how you're showing up in your life and in your business. I'm so incredibly excited for the women who have joined Success Accelerator Program. Like, my heart is so happy. And it's not about the money. Like, the money is great and it definitely helps with so many things and helps with my nervous system regulation, helps with my feeling of safety. But for me, knowing that these women signed up to be mentored and to grow not only their business, but also personal growth for the next 4 months, it makes me so excited for them, because I am so excited to be a space for them that they get to grow in whatever way that they want to. And I'm so proud of them for choosing to grow. And I'm so proud of them for choosing to do something that might have felt like kind of scary to invest in. Because I know on the other side of this program, they are going to be more themselves. They're going to be more powerful versions of themselves. They're going to show up in their business different. They're going to show up with their clients differently. And the ripple effect of that is just astronomical. And I can't even fathom how many lives this gets to change by how they show up differently in their businesses. There are some really cool things that are happening in my business right now, not just Success Accelerator Program, that I'm going to be sharing with you guys over the next few weeks and next few months. I'm so excited for what I'm building, because I'm going to be able to help even more of you, not just in Success Accelerator Program, but in other spaces as well. And it just feels so full circle to where I started my coaching business and where I wanted to go in my coaching business, that we are in a space now that I can actually do some of these things, because I haven't always been in a space where I could do some of these things, whether it was like because we were moving or building a house or moving again or retiring from my wedding career. There were a lot of things going on that kept me from building out my offer suite in a more robust way. But I am in a space now where I can build it out, and I'm so freaking excited for you guys. You are not even ready for some of the things that are coming down the pipeline. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for showing up in whatever way you can show up today. And I'm proud of you for being interested in becoming an energetic match for something different. I want you to just take some of these questions I asked you. How would you show up? How would you speak differently? How would you take care of yourself? How would you speak about yourself? I want you to start taking some of these things and go take action on them. Thank you for coming to today's podcast episode. If you found this episode helpful, come find me on Instagram at Aislinn Coaching. Send me a DM. Tell me what you loved the most about this episode. Share it with your friends. I'm really excited for what's coming down the pipeline. I will talk to you guys on the next episode.